Friends, there is no one greeting for Yom HaZikaron, for Israel's Day of Remembrance. And what's really complicated and important and unique, is that as opposed to every other country in the world that connects to its moments of national history, Israel marks our day of connecting to national history one after the other, in an immediate way. From Yom HaZikaron, a day of remembering those who've fallen in defense of the creation of the State of Israel, and in defense of the State of Israel, and in defense and memory of those who have been killed in acts of terror. We go straight from that into the immediate, and Israel's about to make that transition in just a few hours from Yom HaZikaron into Yom HaAtzmaut, into the day of celebrating Israel's independence, this year celebrating 76 years of independence. The birth of the Third Jewish Commonwealth is the lifetimes of many of our family members, which means that we're very young. My father was born in 1948, so was the State of Israel. That tells me how recent our reclaiming of Jewish dignity has been. And it tells me all the pain that we are remembering right now has happened within lifetimes that those people should have been able to live. And so what I want to make sure that we do, friends, while we make sure to learn our Torah, is to remember this moment. As a global Jewish people and as a community of allies, we are friends, we are family, we are absolutely united with our people. And even though there's no way really to compare marking Yom HaZikaron outside of the State of Israel in the way at all that those in Israel do, we, especially this year, are connected. We are connected. And while we, of course, honor the memory of those who've fallen in battle or murdered in acts of terror, we know that our ultimate goal is no war. We don't valorize war, even though there have been unbelievable acts of heroism involved in it, even though the ultimate sacrifice paid by so many of our daughters and sons is worthy of honor. We don't wish for more war. We wish for no need to defend ourselves. But especially this year, we know that that's a prayer, not a description. There are lots of ways to connect this moment to our Parsha. Let me name one, and then let me share just a few stories about people who have died and been killed on October 7th and since. This is Parshat Emor, a Torah portion that talks about many things, including the Jewish calendar. The ancient Jewish calendar includes so many different facets that you might forget that there's a basic notion involved in this, which is, while we're in the desert, the calendar is being set for us for when we are independent. So much of the Jewish calendar is about what a free people will do to remember its history when we weren't free. So for Shavuot, coming up in a month and a half, we are told, this is what you'll do when you're free. You'll tell the story of having been the descendant of a wandering Aramaean. And now that I have enough, God, standing before you in our sanctuary, in our free land, as a free people, I offer this sacrifice as a remembrance of when Jewish history was not this. Well, that is what we, now that we have established dignity and self-determination again, which we will never forfeit, that our children and our ancestors died to bequeath us, that we are called to champion and defend and develop, we will mark time. And it's actually quite beautiful to use a line from this week's Torah portion to remember that. These are the holy days in chapter 23 of the book of Leviticus. These are the holy days, asher tikru'u otam, that you will recite, you will establish, you will call out. And commentators throughout the generations have said, why do we need to declare a holy day that is holy? It's already holy before I say a thing. And some of the answers, especially in the modern Jewish people's experience, has been, we can declare days and times as holy. It's certainly true about our life cycles. When we have a loss, that day becomes forever connected. So too will our holidays forever bear the memories of everything our people has been through on those holidays. Whenever we have a Seder, we of course remember those who used to share Seder with us, but who no longer walk the earth. Today is Yom HaZikaron. Today is a day of national memory for the Jewish people, where once we were told we were not allowed to think of ourselves as a nation ever again if we wanted to be counted as equals. And that was the story of the emancipation and the, quote, enlightenment. That has been the claim of so many parts of Jewish history, that we needed to relinquish our notion that we were connected one to the other viscerally in order to be considered equal citizens. No other people has been demanded of in that way, and we reject that demand. We are not divided from each other. This is a global Jewish moment, more viscerally understood and felt on our own soil. But it is also important for us to remember to honor those who are there in Israel, giving of themselves in ways that no other Jew in the world could fathom, until the day that one of us, all of us perhaps, walk as free Jews on this earth. There is no place bearing the brunt of that challenge as our homeland. And so today on Yom HaZikaron we remember. Today on Yom HaZikaron we remember. We mark this day as holy. Our children's blood has been spilled to let their family live free. And so together, friends, we are going to just hear some stories. I'm looking at a page on the Times of Israel called Those We Have Lost, stories of civilians and soldiers killed since Hamas's onslaught on Israel on October 7th, and today we remember. I'm going to read two stories. One is Maya ben David, who was 48. She was murdered by Hamas terrorists in Kibbutz Kfar Aza on October 7th. I'm just going to read a short excerpt of her story. Maya ben David, 48, from Kfar Chaim, was murdered by terrorists in Kibbutz Kfar Aza on October 7th. She is survived by her husband and two children. Maya was known for her enthusiasm over the health benefits of the moringa plant, which earned her the nickname Maya Moringa among friends. She used her passion to develop products based on the plant and marketed them on the internet via the Moringa Israel website she set up. She was previously a social coordinator at Bayit Shel Tamar, Tamar's Home, an organization that helps children with learning difficulties. The Moringa Israel website now includes a memorial page for Maya, describing her as a family woman, a pioneering entrepreneur, loved by so many who considered her a close friend, laughing and funny, true to her ways. On the weekend of October 7th, Maya's family were visiting Kfar Aza to stay with her husband's parents. Terrorists who massacred many in the community arrived at the home where the family had taken refuge in their secure room and fired through the locked door. A bullet hit Maya, killing her. Thus, in one moment, the wonderful song of her life was cut short, the memorial page says of her death. In Maya's light, we continue her work in recent years and hope that we meet her expectations. In a post on Facebook, her cousin Limor Zaria eulogized Maya, writing, "She was separated from the physical sphere by indescribable cruelty, but not from our hearts. You left behind a giant, lit-up smile, joy of life, a full heart, and a sweet and loving family that will continue on your path." After her murder, friends determined to continue marketing her products in her honor, the Ynet news outlet reported. That was Maya ben David. May her memory be for a blessing. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. We remember. I want to share one more story. Sergeant Shimon Lugazi was 19. If you could see his face. What a sweet face. Sergeant Shimon Yochai Lugazi, 19, a surveillance balloon operator in the Border Defense Corps, 414th Unit from Akko, was killed on October 7th while battling Hamas terrorists at the Nachal Oz IDF outpost. Shimon was one of 5 balloon operators on duty on duty that fateful morning, were waiting for a repair crew to arrive and fix the malfunctioning balloon when the Hamas invasion began. Instead, they began to fight back against the terrorists, but heavily outnumbered, all five were killed in the battle. Shimon is survived by his parents, Rachel and Michelle, and his siblings Daniel, Yael, Oriel, and Noah. He was buried on October 12th in Nahariya. Shimon had only joined the IDF 6 months before he was killed, and he had worked to lose weight in order to be placed in a more prestigious position, his family said. He grew up in a religious home and was noted for his strong faith and observance, and was also a devoted fan of the Beitar Jerusalem soccer club. A memorial Instagram page set up for him noted that he was born on the holiday of Hanukkah, and you were always the light at home and for everyone. What you did in 19 years, people who are 70 or 80 did not accomplish, the memorial post continued. You brought us huge pride when you achieved everything you wanted to protect this country and our land and the citizens there. We are alive because of people like you, our angel. We hope that you are in a good place and you are smiling your smile that never left your face. A month after he was killed, his brother Oriel wrote on Instagram that he is still shattered into pieces. I pray to God that you will come back and wake me up from this nightmare, he wrote. I miss our laughter and our fights so much. I have nobody to fight with. I'm bored without you. Really, I am nothing without you. You would always complete me in everything. His father Michel said in a video that Shimon was a wonderful kid. Shimon was a righteous man. In his eulogy at his funeral, Michel noted that he did not express any anger, but the opposite. I said, thank you, God, for the 20 years that you gave me Shimon. He was a boy who did only good, who had the most incredible respect for his parents, he said, noting that he worked as a teenager as a waiter and would always give his earnings to his father to help the family. Michel said that Shimon would often walk around wrapped in the Israeli flag. He had a love for others. He didn't care who they were, if they were Jewish or Arab. If they needed anything, they would get it. Love thy neighbor as yourself, he said. Despite everything, despite the difficulties, and we had difficulties, he was always happy. He was always happy. He was never sad. Friends, I know that this is a lot for us to absorb, 9 o'clock in the morning or wherever we happen to be. But what I want to do, friends, is first of all remind us of the time difference, and that whatever you're feeling, those in Israel, especially the family members of those we've lost, have been feeling this now for over 20 hours of Yom HaZikaron, and more viscerally than we can imagine. It's our responsibility to lift up these names and to remember their stories. I hope that you'll go to Times of Israel and read these stories. Hundreds of them, of those lost since October 7th, have now been recorded, but the number is way too high, no matter what the number is. May our beloveds, who fell in defense of our people and our home, be remembered, be lifted up by us. May Am Yisrael make their sacrifice something upon which we have built a better world from. May we continue their legacy and fight in all the ways that we must, never wishing for the fight. But may we fight valiantly for our people's dignity and for our very lives. May their names be remembered and may their souls be bound up in the bond of life. Just before we sing Hatikva, I'm going to ask you to take 20 seconds of silence. It's not the 2-minute siren that rings throughout Israel to mark Yom HaZikaron, just as it does on Yom HaShoah. Take 20 seconds of silence with me now. I'll watch the clock and offer your heart and your prayers and your commitment to Am Yisrael in memory of those we've lost. nefesh Yehudi homiya, ulfatei mizrach kadima, ayin letzion tzofia. Od lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Am Yisrael Chai. Bring them home now. See you tomorrow, friends.